All right, good afternoon, everybody. Line 2 Cave. I am the Saber UVA, so Uniform Victim Advocate for VR61. Currently looking for some alternates, so if you're interested, come find me. We're gonna go through this pretty quick. I'm not gonna sit up here and read the whole time though, because that gets boring. So I'm gonna rely on you guys to help out. And then we're just gonna go slide by slide, pretty much word for word, and then we'll be out of here. All right, so these are the objectives. Who wants to read the first one?
Find the term sexual assault and consent and distinguish between sexual assault and sexual harassment.
Identify.
Available reporting options, who can receive reports, mandatory reporting requirements, and catch the serial offender program.
Understand?
Understand victims' rights and access to confidential legal resources and how different reporting options influence victims' ability to exercise their rights.
Recognize?
Recognize the availability of anonymous support and information available through the DoD Safe Helpline.
Define?
Command personnel roles and responsibilities to support victims and victims' ability to make a report and seek support outside of their chain of command.
Understand?
That certain responses related to sexual assault reporting may constitute retaliatory behaviors and how to identify and report such behaviors.
Define.
The availability of medical treatment, including a sexual assault forensics exam, SAFE, and other available resources for victims on and off base.
Sexual assault prevention in the Navy is about building trust through dignity and respect. We model this behavior by living the Navy's core values, and when we commit to a life of self and team improvement, acting with honor in all matters, showing moral and physical courage at all times. I'm gonna watch this quick video. Is there no sound?
You can do it both.
I think we muted it.
2017, we're off the coast of Puerto Rico.
Alright, it's on now.
Do you have to switch it back to that? From
Yeah.
that? Sorry, guys. It's after lunch. We're tired.
2017, we're off the coast of Puerto Rico, providing relief to our fellow citizens there following the horrific hurricanes that went through. And the chief selects were providing training inside the chief's mess. And it was on sexual assault prevention and response. And as I was leaning up against the bulkhead, I started to feel an anger grow inside of me. And it was blatantly obvious that these 13 individuals had not read the instructions, had not really inculcated the training, and they were just all over the place. And it's not that play, anger, or firmness that sometimes you employ as a leader to drive a point home. Building rage. And eventually, I erupted. And I stormed out of the chief's mess, and I went back to my office on board the ship, and I sat down and my hands were shaking. And I was like, what is going on here? I never lose control. I'm usually the eye in the middle of a hurricane. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I knew what I had to do. I stood up from behind my desk, I walked back into the chief's mess, and it was dead silent. None of the chiefs had left, none of the chief selects had left. And I said, hey, everybody, training time out, sit down and relax. I was like, I've got to explain to you what just happened. for the first time in my life, I'm going to tell you something that I just admitted to myself. I am a victim of sexual assault before I joined the Navy. I've been holding on to that all these years, and when you were providing that training, and it was obvious to me that you had not looked into the books, that you had not really dug into it and owned it as a chief petty officer should, as a petty officer should, you were telling me you didn't care about me. And so I reacted like that, and you all stayed here because I'm the CMC, and you gave me the benefit of the doubt. Well, what if I was an E1 and I responded like that during your training? It would have written me up. Or worse, I bottled it up, walked across the brow, went ashore, and engaged in destructive behaviors because I couldn't express myself and what I thought of. And so that's a breaking of trust, so that when we do this training, understand, no matter what that training is, whether it's on, suicide prevention, there's people in your division, in your department, within your crew that need that help. And you're telling them with your actions and your words that you genuinely care. If you show up unprepared, sailors have a highly attenuated radar for that, and they're going to pick up that it's just words and you really don't.
All right, and then we just have this video on consent.
Consent is a freely given agreement to the conduct at issue by a competent person. An expression of lack of consent through words or conduct means there's no consent. Consent is not given by lack of verbal or physical resistance, submission resulting from the use of force, threat of force, or placing another person in fear, a current or previous dating, social, or sexual relationship, the manner of dress, or a sleeping, unconscious, or incompetent person.
Everybody understand what consent is?
Yes.
All right, what is sexual harassment? Who wants to read?
Unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and deliberate or repeated offensive comments or gestures of a sexual nature.
What is sexual assault?
Intentional sexual contact characterized by the use of force, threats, intimidation, or abuse of authority, or when the victim does not or cannot consent.
And the relationships between the two.
Work environments in which rates of sexual harassment are high appear to contribute to service members' risk of sexual assault.
What right looks like?
Engage leadership, living our core values, accountability, trust and respect, a safe environment, and culture of excellence.
Sexual harassment?
Sexual comments or jokes, catcalling, threats or blackmail, unsolicited sexually explicit communications, indecent recording, and requests for sexual favors or bribes.
And that goes into sexual assault.
Rape, abusive sexual contact, aggravated sexual contact, physical force, touching, pinching, groping.
So like it says down here at the bottom, if you're questioning it, asking yourself, is that okay? Then you should know that it is not okay. Effects of sexual assault.
Sexual violence can have psychological, emotional, and physical effects. There's no universal reaction to trauma, and individuals may experience a wide range of emotions and reactions both immediately after an assault and for months and years after. There's no right reaction to trauma.
So some examples of these effects are PTSD, self-harm, suicide, disassociation, sleep disorders, eating disorders, substance abuse, and depression. Prevention begins with you. Prevention at the individual level focuses on empowering people to take proactive steps to protect themselves and others. So appropriate boundary setting and respecting the boundaries of others and seeking help. Prevention in the interpersonal level focuses on actions and behaviors between individuals that can reduce the risk of assault and promote healthier, respectful relationships. So modeling respectful behavior and active intervention. What is active intervention?
Active intervention is when someone intervenes before, during, or after a situation when they see or hear behaviors that have potential to result in sexual harassment or assault.
So there's the two types, direct and indirect. Who wants to read the direct intervention strategies?
Make up an excuse to help the potential victim get away from someone. For example, I was thinking of grabbing some food. Want to come with me? Pull the potential victim aside and say, you think the situation is dangerous.
Does anybody have any examples or seen direct interventions before? Out in town, Liberty, daily life? No? Awesome. Indirect intervention strategies. Who wants to read that?
Involves others recommending to a bartender or party host that potential victims or predators has had too much to drink. If the situation needs to be escalating, contact law enforcement.
All right, so addressing inappropriate behaviors.
So I usually interject, especially if it's someone lower ranking. I just kind of like break it, hey, what's going on? And not to scare them, but I'm just saying, hey, there's certain things we can't do around here. Just normal parental stuff. But also, I would ask on the side, not to embarrass anybody, hey, everything good? I would go chain of command. Definitely if I'm an assistant LPO, I'll go to my LPO, I will go to my chief and say, hey, I noticed something. I'm not trying to start any trouble, but if I'm wrong for feeling this way, then please let me know so I can correct myself.
And then the role of empathy in leadership.
Humans themselves we're not stovepiped. We don't think in terms of one program or the other. As humans, we want to take care of our sailors specifically in mind, body, and spirit. You really need empathy. And leaders need empathy to take care of your sailors because it is the right thing to do. Our nation's greatest gift that folks give to us are their sons and daughters that come and they trust us. And we can't violate that trust, and we need to take that very seriously. When we are on a ship, in a squadron, on a submarine, in a SEAL platoon, or a CB unit, what we have is our people and the unit cohesion and the connectedness that we have throughout that command. That connectedness and the folks that we have there and taking care of them, it's not only the right thing to do, it has operational context to it. If we have a culture where people aren't heard, if people are assaulting other people, then that breaks down that trust, it breaks down that unit cohesion, and then essentially it breaks down the fibers that hold that unit together, and that unit will break up in some ways, and people will be lost, unplanned losses. We talk about that all the time in the fleet is unplanned losses.
So the command prevention roles and responsibilities. Remember that great teams are accountable to each other. We must establish and maintain protective environments and healthy climates that develop skills for healthy and safe interpersonal interactions. Establish and maintain healthy command climates. Mitigate risk of sexual assault and behaviors on the continuum of harm. Monitor command climate and respond with appropriate action toward any negative trends that emerge. So that's part of like doing the DEOC survey. This is a big part of that. So open communication.
Knowing I have someone to go to at any point about anything. Same thing for the people I work with, whether they're like our civilian contractors and providers or my shipmates. I work with soldiers on the Army side. And that open door policy allows us to open up on different levels, whether it be professional, whether it be issues that we need to discuss, whether something, an incident happens and we don't know how to go reporting, do stuff our own way. We're able to knock on our LPO, our service chief, anybody's door and come to them with a problem. And they can either help us or they point us in the right direction. They guide us to what they think might be the best decision. And I think that's benefited us all because we've all gone through something. I know personally, I know a lot of people that if that open door policy wasn't there, probably wouldn't be where they are right now in their Navy careers or clinics, anything like that, because of something they've been through that they thought they couldn't tell or they couldn't get help with. And having that open door policy really allows someone to know that they're trusted, they are heard and seen, and they're never gonna be alone for anything.
So the culture of excellence, or CO, and culture change. CO is a streamlined tool to build great culture, which aims to prevent harmful behaviors. And then as people, who wants to read that?
We are accountable accountable to ourselves and to our teams, living Navy core values, becoming a master of the warrior mindset, and deliberately strengthening our minds, bodies, and spirits.
As leaders
We are accountable to our people and model character, competence, and culture.
and as teams.
We are accountable to each other and to achieving the mission, creating an environment where our people do the best work of their lives alongside people they trust and respect.
So the trust and connection.
Being transparent and being accountable allows a lot of mitigation factors to happen. If you're transparent with the people that work for you, especially in your shop. My time as MPO, I had a Ian 3 call me on Virginia Beach Boulevard. He actually just saw me. We passed each other on Virginia Beach Boulevard out one night, and he ends up calling me and saying, "Hey, I lost my friends. I need to get back." And this was early before Uber was around. And I said, "Yeah, no problem. Where are you at? I'll come meet you, and we'll go back together." Being transparent and meaning what you say and being accountable. And if we're standing at that brief on Friday and I tell you, "Hey, if you need anything, you call me," answer the phone on Saturday when that call happens, because it's spreads throughout the ship. And then you may have someone from a different division reach out to you and say, "Hey, I got your number from DCPO, whoever. He said I could call you. Can you come get me?" And even if you can't physically get there, you make sure that okay, I'm working to get you a ride. This person's going to show up at this point. Doing things like that. And also in the wardroom, it was something of, if you see an issue, if you see something, say something. And holding each other accountable. Like, "Hey, we're going out tonight. I know you got that inspection in the morning. You may need to head back before I do because I don't have anything tomorrow," that type of thing. It instills a lot of trust and connectedness throughout the command, and it allows people to depend on each other if they have to, if they get into situations.
We're gonna go into the response section, and this is where response would be mostly the UVA or the SARC, but we'll get into some new nav admin that just came out that gives you a little bit more of a broad spectrum to keep a restricted report.
With that sexual assault victim, we already have all the programs in place: medical, mental health, the command triad, the chaplain, fleet and family. I mean, it is robust and thick. But where the real help comes from is from the deck plate, from your shipmates and your peers saying, "Hey, you're one of us, and you're going through something right now, and you are hurting. We're going to rally around you." That's what we can do for that ship.
So these are the personnel that will keep everything confidential and to themselves. So the SARC or Sapper VA, me or the SARC on base, fleet and family. Any healthcare providers, the VLC, which is the Victims Legal Counsel, or your legal personnel, and then the chaplain. Everybody knows that there's two types of reports, right? Restricted and unrestricted. What's the biggest difference between them? And
The legal action.
that's a little bit different now, but we'll go over it. What was that? Oh yeah. So restricted is confidential, not reported to the command or law enforcement. You still get a SARC or a Sapper VA assigned to you if you want that support. You get medical and mental health care, advocacy, a safe exam if you want, and you can convert that to an unrestricted report at any time. So the limitations with it though, is you don't get the expedited transfer or an MPO, and it's not available if you've made a disclosure to like an outside law enforcement. So like Oak Harbor PD, if you told them, then it's automatically unrestricted. You can't go restricted after that. The unrestricted report is not confidential. It's reported to your command. There's an official investigation. You can get your MPO if you so choose. You still get the SARC and the Sapper VA, medical and mental health care. the safe exam, and you can request the expedited transfer. The big one with this is that you cannot convert it to a restricted report once it's already unrestricted. So this is just the timeline of when the command gets involved. All right, Office of Special Trial Counsel. Who wants to read what they do?
Exercises exclusive authority over covered offenses. So related offenses are related to the covered offense. Could be an offender other than the accused, and known offenses are known to have been committed by the accused in addition to the covered offense. Outside the chain of command of the accused and the victim, it reports directly to SECNA. It's manned by JAGs with special experience and decides whether to charge individuals. In some cases, a court-martial. The decisions no longer made by commanders. Commander may offer non-binding input to the STC, and the STC decision is binding on the commander.
All right, so this just means that if you don't want to be involved at all, but they become aware of a sexual assault, they're still going to pursue it. You can sign off and say, I want nothing to do with this. I don't want to testify. I don't, leave me out of it. Go do your thing. I'm not giving you any information. Or you can be involved. But this is, special for a reason, so it's outside. And they have to, not they have to. Once their investigation is complete, then they tell the chain of command, your commander, what they should do. So the CO can't do anything to this individual until this is complete. Safe to report policy, to encourage reporting and hold offenders accountable. No Department of the Navy member may discipline a service member who is a victim of alleged sexual assault for minor misconduct. Does anybody know what that means? Or what does it mean to you?
You can't be retaliated on.
Kind of. So this is gonna be you're underage, out drinking, you get sexually assaulted. You can report that without, underage drinking is minor misconduct, right? So the CO is not gonna take you to mass for underage drinking because you reported a sexual assault. So they want you to report things because that's been a big thing for a long time, is that, you're out doing something that you probably shouldn't have been doing, and then you get sexually assaulted. You don't wanna report it because you don't wanna get in trouble.
And is that only in conjunction with the sexual assault incident? Or is it the whole time the investigation is going on, you can't get in trouble for anything else?
No, just be whatever the offense was. And it still depends too, because if you...
So it's not like there's a sexual assault, you report it, and then 2 months later you get
Oh, no, you would get in trouble for that. So, but whatever happened just during that specific incident.
Wait, so say you report your incident and then, you're all depressed and stuff, and then you're drinking, and then you get caught drinking. You get in trouble?
Technically, yes, but that's something that, you would talk to your VLC about, your Victim Legal Counsel, or any legal officer. And it depends on your chain of command. It depends on what they want to do, what your CO wants to, how far they want to take it. Maybe you just get some EMI and go over and see the DAPA. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. But that's going to be a case by case. So here's your resources. Why does it say that? I don't know. All right, no wrong door policy. Who wants to read that?
A victim who contacts a helping professional from any Department of the Navy Victim Care and Support Office must either receive services from that office or, with the victim's permission, get a warm handoff to the appropriate service provider. A warm handoff will include direct connection, introduction to the responsible staff, and follow through to ensure the needs of the person seeking care are met. The policy applies to all DON personnel responsible for the care and support of victims of sexual assault, sexual harassment, or domestic abuse.
Does anybody have an example of what a warm handoff would be?
You don't drop them off to the building and say good luck.
Right, so we're gonna contact, Yeah, we got a cold one. So if you come to me and want to report, you know, a sexual assault, but there was domestic violence involved, that becomes a FAP case as well. So I'm going to work with you, but I'm also going to get in contact with somebody from FAP, and I'm going to directly take you to them, or if you want me to. Some people just want to do things on their own, and that's fine too. We don't ever want to push ourselves on people, but a lot of people like to be accompanied. So we would walk them straight to the office, introduce them, warm handoff. Good? Everybody gets it? So these are the SAPR resources. I'm sure everybody, we beat this like a dead horse all the time, so take a look. So this is more on the victim's legal counsel and what they can do for you.
In addition to offering a victim the information and the education about their choices throughout the process, a victim's legal counsel can also be the victim's voice in many different ways. They can speak to other folks in the legal process. They can speak with NCIS. They can accompany a victim to an NCIS interview. They can speak with prosecutors. They can facilitate the victim speaking with prosecutors, because victims have the right to learn about their case and understand their case from the government counsel who are trying their case. They can speak to the defense counsel on behalf of the victim as well. In addition, the victim's legal counsel can speak to the command of the offender who's making a decision about what's going to happen in the case, and the victim's command. The victim's legal counsel doesn't speak to anyone on behalf of the victim without the victim's express permission to do so. This is a confidential relationship. It's an attorney-client relationship between the victim and his or her attorney.
And just a little note on the VLC. That JAG is specially trained specifically for that job, and that's all they do. So, you know, they go to a lot of extra school and stuff. So they're very knowledgeable of what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot say to NCIS, you know, and all the things. When can you get an expedited transfer? Thank you. Expedited transfer, who wants to read that?
The intent behind the expedited transfer policy is to address situations where a victim feels safe but uncomfortable with their command. The goal is to assist in the victim's recovery. The SARC or SAPR VA will serve as an advocate during this process. The commander or the appropriate approving authority must make the decision within 5 calendar days of the request. If the request is denied, it is automatically reviewed by the first flag officer within 5 calendar days of receipt of the commander's decision. Their decision is final.
So, do you know what would happen if both are declined? Like both expedited transfer requests are declined? They just stay there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the 5 calendar days is really important. That's not 5 business days. That's not like, oh, it's a holiday on Monday, so we'll get back to you type of thing. It's 5 calendar days for the CO to make their decision. And then First Flag has 5 additional days. So within 10 calendar days, you will know if you're getting your expedited transfer or not. If it's within the same command, if the members are in the same command, obviously that's why you would do an expedited transfer. But if they don't feel safe, a lot of times they'll move one of the parties, like TAD, pretty much, to somewhere else on the base while the decision's being made. Medical and mental health care. So obviously you can go to your healthcare provider for a safe exam. The important thing about a safe exam is, for up here specifically, is the only authorized hospital to do one right now is Providence and Everett. So know that you're going to be making a drive. And you don't necessarily have to drive. We can get the duty van and drive you if you want, or you can drive yourself. They're working with Whidbey Health, I believe it is, to try and get the nurses there certified to do the safe exam. And then that way it'll be closer. It's been a long time coming. So you can get behavioral health and counseling, referrals to services that you might need. And then convalescent leave. On base, you have Fleet and Family Support Center, the medical treatment facilities, and dental treatment facility. Off base, there's rape crisis centers, the VA, local resources, and referrals. So I apologize, I should have brought them. I have a pamphlet of all the resources that are out in town, of different like safe houses that you can go to essentially. If something happened and for some reason you couldn't get a hold of somebody to help you. Or if you just need a safe place to stay for the night. But I have that on my desk if you guys, and I'll post it around the building. So convalescent leave, survivors of sexual assault can be authorized convalescent leave for recovery. It's non-chargeable, it's 1 to 30 days. And it's authorized by your CO, the MTF, the DTF. And the big thing with that is you probably want to get that from the MTF. I don't believe the CO would deny that, but it looks better coming from there. And they can give you a better time frame of how long you might need, depending on your situation. And then that's available for restricted and unrestricted. So specifically for restricted, you'd want to go to the MTF.
What is the
That's a
MTF?
medical treatment facility and
Dental.
Okay.
So military sexual trauma, MST, benefits. Who wants to read that?
The VA provides free services for current and former service members who experience sexual harassment and/or sexual assault during military service. Services are provided without the need for documentation or evidence and include free mental and medical health care, access to an MST coordinator who can help victims find appropriate services, confidential and privileged communication.
And then I also have this handout on my desk, and I'll post the QR codes up too, in case anybody needs to do that. So Catch a Serial Offender Program, does anybody know what this is or heard of it? Somewhat new, so maybe not. No? All right, who wants to read about the Catch program?
The CATCH program allows victims of sexual assault the opportunity to anonymously submit suspect information to military criminal investigators to help the DoD identify alleged serial offenders. Victims may explore converting to an unrestricted report or participating in an investigation if a match is identified. The program is completely voluntary, and victims may opt out of match notifications for their offender at any point. To get more information or submit a catch entry, victims must speak to their SARC. Entries cannot be made if the suspect's identity was disclosed to or uncovered by law enforcement.
So pretty much you can go sit down with the SARC, give as much information as you can to identify this person, because we don't know who they are. So that way, if somebody else goes and sits down with their SARC, maybe on another base or maybe the same base, and gives the same sort of information and it matches, then they can find out who they are and then tell the other people, because maybe like this member didn't know who it was and submitted information. This member knew who it was, submitted the information, and now they know who it was, and the member can then go to an unrestricted report and go through the process of charging them and stuff. Does that make sense? Retaliation. Who wants to read about retaliation?
Retaliation encompasses illegal, impermissible, or hostile actions such as verbal threats, exclusion from activities, etc., taken by service members, chain of command, peers, or coworkers due to making or being suspected of making a protected communication. It can involve ostracism, social exclusion, bullying, reprisal, or maltreatment. Retaliation is covered offense that falls under OSTC. Retaliation is investigated by NCS and OSTC, and reprisal is investigated for DOD-IG.
Who remembers what OSTC is?
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, yeah. So Office of Special Trial, sorry. So this is another big reason why people won't report is because they're scared of retaliation. But they take this very serious, and if anything was to if you ever felt that way, it needs to be brought up right away, so that way it can be investigated and dealt with appropriately. And this is how you report it. It's an IG. It has the overall responsibility for the department's whistleblower protection program and handles all reprisal complaints that involve allegations of sexual assault in the Department of Defense. Sailors can report to them without going through the SAPR program. All allegations of reprisal are forwarded to the DoD IG. And then there's some extra resources. So the key takeaways, ask yourself, what kind of sailor do you want to be? What kind of unit do you want? What kind of culture do you want? Will you speak up, step up? And then this is an optional assessment. If you wanted to take it, go ahead and scan that. But other than that, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
So if you like report something, what happens to the person you're reporting? Like
The offender?
You always get like help and stuff for the person reporting like the safe houses and all the good, all that stuff. What happens to that person? Like, does he live with them or something?
The accused.
Yeah, the accused person. What happens to them?
Depending on the findings, I mean, it can go all the way up to, captain's mast, court martial. Are you talking about like if they need resources, like maybe they need like mental health resources or something?
Yeah.
I mean, you can always go to mental health. No matter if you're accused, not accused, feel great, don't feel great. So, I mean, you still have your normal like resources that you would have just as a sailor.
But would they be like on type like a probation type thing?
It depends on the chain of command.
Don't sexual assault cases have to be handled by the ISIC at a minimum? It can't be handled at the command level.
No, it would be the base CO here would take care of it.
Yeah, so it's not gonna go to captain's mast like here. It would be.
Yeah, and if they were found not guilty of the sexual assault, but there was misconduct, then it would be like a captain's mast type thing if the CO wanted to pursue those charges. But yes, if sexual assault happens on this base, the CO would be the one to take care of it, the base CO.
So yeah, I was gonna touch on like false reporting. Like, what if somebody just said, "Oh yeah, he did this," and like he gotta fight to prove, or she has to fight to prove that they didn't do it. Like,
And that's where NCIS comes in, and that's why it's really important that it's an unrestricted report, so you can get the maximum amount of benefits and services.
Yeah.
If you falsely report it, I mean, you can get in a lot of trouble for it. But it has to be proven, and to prove that sometimes is not as easy as it may seem. But realistically, like statistically, when I went through the training course for this, there's not that many like false reportings. I think people take it pretty serious.
Sorry,
It's
I
not.
was second.
No,
They estimate that the number of unreported sexual assault is like 4 or 5 times the like false reporting that we think it is. So.
But in good news, the reporting has gone up.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not good because, but more people are reporting than they have been in years past. So I think that the resources that we're putting out and the support that we're getting from like Fleet and Family, NCIS, and just the culture in general is shifting, and I think it's a great thing. Did you have something?
I was going to ask if the instances of sexual assault in the Navy have gone down over the recent years, but then you said reports have gone up, so I wasn't sure.
So, funny enough, they have gone down.
Okay.
But it's hard to tell because you have so many that haven't reported. And then yes, now more people are reporting because they feel safe and they can. So they can only go off the data that they have, which isn't, I guess, the best data right now.
It sounds like we're headed in the right direction.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
They threw up like a chart that had the Army, Navy, Coast Guard and stuff during my class, and we were actually like right in the middle. So we weren't the Marines. They were number 1.
Who was the last one?
Huh?
Who was the last one?
I think it was the Air Force.
Of course.
Understandable. All right, thank you.
Or the Coast Guard. I don't know. It was one of those. All right. Anything else, guys? Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.